do your research before you start. And I mean, I know that that is like expected, but at times you're passionate about something and you get so excited and you throw all your eggs in that basket. And do your research though. Is there a demand for it?
Welcome to Clicks and Bricks Podcast. We talk about the entrepreneur mindset.
If you get one shot at this, what kind of shot are you going to take?
If we forget who we are, they're going to forget who you are.
You've got an adversity story that's out of this world.
Everything from that Main Street brick and mortar to that billion-dollar manufacturer.
Reggie, thank you for joining us today. We're super excited to have you on this show. You've got your foot in a couple of different ponds right now. But before we get into your business, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your upbringing?
Yeah, man, thanks so much, Ken, for bringing me on. I'm a father. I've got two amazing young boys, Cameron, who's 11, Legend, who's 4. When I say they can eat, Ken, my goodness, they eat so much.
Yes.
The pandemic put us in a situation where we were together 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And my goodness, I thought I had became a personal chef
Yeah.
for these boys. Outside of that, I was born and raised in San Antonio, Texas, and moved around a little bit. When I was a younger child, my stepfather played professional basketball, so we did that for a while. I reside now in Dallas, Texas. Love to cook, love traveling, love technology. It's really been a passion of mine since I was a young child. And I do serve. I lead a men's group. It's been an amazing experience in conjunction with Transformation Church out in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So, a little bit about me, man.
Awesome. And so you grew up in Texas?
I did grow up in Texas. We lived a little bit. We lived on the East Coast for a couple of years, and then in the Midwest. But San Antonio's always been home. Over the past, let's see, 3.5 years, I lived in Northern California. I was relocated out there with Microsoft. So I spent a couple of years in the San Jose, Silicon Valley area. Really exciting, my friend. Really expensive also, but a really, really good time out there.
Yeah, I think you have to be fond of commuting if you're going to live and work out there, right?
Fond of commuting, fond of state taxes, inflation. You got to be fond of a lot.
This is not Bash, California. I love San Diego. I go out there quite a bit, but
beautiful areas in California for sure. I loved California, but I said, man, it was tough at times to be out there.
So when you were a kid, did you have that entrepreneurial spirit, or is that something that came along later after going through the Silicon Valley world and kind of being I guess Microsoft's not a startup, but Silicon Valley's, rifled with startups.
Right.
So is that something you developed over time, or is that something that's just innately in you?
I have pictures in suits, and my late grandmother said I had I was her little pastor. She was like, you always commanded a room and wanted to lead, and I had lemonade stands and would build things as a kid, and I think it was something that was always there. Figuring out how to unlock that, though, in my 20s was challenging because there's a lot to running a business. But I think the corporate experience that I have helped give me a peek on the back end of like, okay, this is what it takes to run a company. I've always worked at relatively large companies, so seeing their infrastructure, it gave me something to kind of dream about, and also what it would take to build something that would be scalable and successful.
Well, and out of high school and college, I mean, the world's telling you don't be your own business owner, right?
Oh yeah.
Like you go to the bank for money, like, oh no, that's too risky. We're not going to loan you money. Friends and family are like, you're crazy. You shouldn't do that. So it's definitely you have to really, really want to open a business to go down that path. So
You do.
Can you tell us a little bit about your business today? What is it that you ended up the founder of?
Yeah, so I have my stake in two areas right now. One area is I am a licensed real estate agent here in Dallas, Texas. I work with Rogers Healy and Associates. We focus on luxury leasing and luxury sales across both commercial and residential properties. That has been something I just started. I just got in a couple of months ago. I work with an amazing team, really, really, really fond of the infrastructure. My baby, though, the organization or company that I founded a couple of years ago is my hemp distribution company. We sell
Okay.
direct to consumer via our e-commerce website. We also have stake in the wholesale and commercial sales side. That is Vast Wellness Solutions, and I'm licensed here with the state of Dallas, or with Texas, I'm sorry, and I have that entity established here now.
Wonderful. So, and you're selling hemp and hemp products.
Yeah, yeah. So we sell compliant hemp products across topicals, tinctures, and then flower and vapes as well.
Right. So that's the CBD cannabinoid, correct?
Yes, sir. That is the CBD cannabinoid. We do also offer CBG, which is an alternative cannabinoid. I think one of the key differences you'll find with us, though, is a lot of folks are kind of blurring the lines in this space, right? With the Delta
They're pushing
8.
the envelope, yes.
Yeah, they're pushing the envelope. And on one end, I wanted it to be a brand that could help change this negative stigmas, right? And really be separate from marijuana. There's a
Right.
generation, there's a demographic of folks that they see anything that looks like weed, they're going to condemn you and they want nothing to do with it.
Right.
So, he said, look, if I'm going to have God's hand on it and him really bless it, I need to do it the right way. And so we steered away from anything that can be considered psychoactive, right? So Delta 8, HHC, we don't offer any of that. We actually have compliant hemp CBD products, and it has been amazing to see the response from not only the consumers, but even from the business field. We just got nominated and awarded the top USA South. I got to get the literature down, by some company, Global Health Pharma. They just recognized us there as one of the top brands here in the southern portion of the USA. So super excited just to see where the brand is going. The growth has been amazing, Ken. I mean, month over month, it's been really, really awesome seeing, where the company's going, and we're excited.
That's fantastic news. So now, hemp and is a touchy subject across the board. When did hemp become legal across all 50 states?
So the Farm Bill played out in 2018.
Okay.
And that legalized the production of hemp, right? Commercial hemp.
Right.
The interpretation was a bit gray, and as you have seen over the past few years, I'm sure in the news, they've created some clarity for vendors and for growers, cultivars, the whole nine. But it did come into legislation and pass in 2018.
Wonderful. So that makes hemp legal in all 50 states for commercial and consumable use.
Yes, they do.
All right. So what kind of benefits does a person get, any person, if they're a business owner or anybody really, by utilizing CBD products?
I will speak about my own experience because it is a bit touchy when you think of,
Okay.
can we can't promote, right, the benefits, but there's been a number of studies that have been done and use cases and people that have experienced the benefits of cannabinoids. In a nutshell, the way that I like to explain it is, we have an endocannabinoid system, right? And there have been...
And what does that mean for the audience?
So that is a system in your body that actually produces cannabinoids, right? Those... I could go on a long tangent with it. So to make it plain, your body produces what we have been not allowed to intake, right? From whether you want to say it's propaganda, whatever, right? There's been a couple of generations that have been kept from this, okay? That endocannabinoid system, think of it like a highway in your body. These different cannabinoids have been shown to impact you in areas of, let's say, stress, anxiety, different relief across maybe pain and things of that nature. Again,
Right.
speaking of my own personal experience, but the way that I like to look at it is like, okay, you have a car, and that car, you give it gas every day, but that car also has oil that it needs. And if you don't give it the oil, well, the engine
Right.
blows up. When you look
And
at where
hydraulic fluid and all kinds of other stuff.
it's done, you've ruined the car. No matter if you're giving it 93 or 87, it's done.
Right.
And I look at where we are, and we just came out of a pandemic. I mean, people are on edge, obesity's at an all-time high, pharmaceuticals are rolling. I mean, people are addicted to opiates and all kind of crazy things. And you think of what hemp can do in that space, it's as if we've been robbed of our oil and our engines are exploding. So, my experience with CBD and hemp, I was a cannabis user. I didn't really understand the differences. What steered me away from the cannabis market was the way that it was cultivated. Is the focus was solely on Delta 9 THC. How
Right.
strong can we make cannabis?
Right.
The problem with that is Delta 9 is psychoactive. So you may get the benefits of the cannabinoid, but you're also going to get the headache, the grogginess, all of the other stuff because you're consuming it at such a high volume. Again, I loved California, but walking into a dispensary there, you weren't going to really find much CBD or alternate cannabinoids. When you looked at those lab reports, it showed, just THC. When I look at the CBD side as a user of CBD, I'm getting CBG, CBGA, CBDA, CBD, and there's so much diversification across that cannabinoid profile. And I really have seen the benefits of it. For me personally, I suffered from ACL surgery. I had reconstructive surgery in 2005 when I played collegiate football. And I was an early pilot for a new technology at the time, which was to take your hamstring also and use the hamstring to replace the anterior cruciate ligament. The positive was your ACL is going to be stronger than it was before. Your hamstring muscle is super strong. But what it wasn't told to me was, but you're going to also have to rehab your hamstring and you're going to have chronic hamstring pain throughout the rest of your life. So when I say chronic, if I'm not careful, I can tear my hamstring with any explosive move now at this point of life. I experience bone on bone pain at times. I mean, excruciating pain. CBD, whether it be a topical, inedible, or smokable, has really helped offset that pain. And my favorite method at this point in my life is probably vaping it because within 10, 15 minutes, I feel relief. Right. And it's not cloudy, not psychoactive. It's just instant relief. And it's not anything that's addictive or, that has those crazy side effects.
You don't need it, like alcohol and Xanax.
No, it's not. I was given Loratab when I came out of surgery at the age of 19. And I tell you, that was the worst experience I had ever had in my life. I'd never used a painkiller in my life, and to use something that made you nauseous and feel sick. Yeah, it took away the pain, but the alternative stuff was just sickening. So, for me, in my personal experience, I've really seen it improve my quality of life. My clients though, I'm working on a project with a very special client of mine, and I don't want to let too much out of the bag, but this client is a child. Well, her mother has used CBD products to medicate her child. She deals with a number of different ailments, and one of the biggest ones is autism. And to hear what CBD and CBG is doing for her vocabulary, to hear what it's doing for her calmness, for her ability to just communicate and live a normal day-to-day life and not be under a sedated type state, like to actually be functional with the products that she's using through us. It's been amazing. And this is just something that I'm able to watch. This is we're seeing this in real time for the past few years really come into play with her. So it's exciting to just see the benefits that are out there. What we need is, we really need to see the transition at the federal government level to really open up the testing. You're seeing colleges are running pilots now. Texas A&M has a really big hemp agricultural program where they're showing, they're looking into genetics and how to grow it in Texas and things of that nature. But we really need resources in this space so that people can get the type of wellness support that they need, and have alternative methods and not be buying stuff out of the gas station that they don't know what it is. And well, this might be good CBD or not. Like we do need compliance, but it doesn't need to be compliance in a way that they hinder the growth of this industry. We need compliance in a way where, look, we want to see you accelerate. We want to see you all grow. We want to see you go. And this is the resources that we're putting in this space.
Right. Proper dosing is a huge part of that, right? I know
Absolutely.
in California, the dosages are kind of all over the place, right? Because THC is recreationally legal. In Missouri, where it's medically legal, dosages are very, very restrictive, right? You have to, everything is very, very clear.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's New York that it's very just kind of willy nilly, whatever, whatever percentage it is or milligrams in it at all. CBD's helped me out a lot in my life. My son's nonverbal autistic. He takes CBD every single day. I used it to help. I had a pretty bad Xanax addiction, and it helped me get off the Xanax. So I'm a huge believer in CBD for medical use. Are you allowed to say that it's an anti-inflammatory?
In my personal experience, I have seen CBG, specifically that cannabinoid, in conjunction with CBD, help me with inflammation, and specifically in my left knee. I deal with inflammation usually every couple of days. I'm a little stiff, a little sore. We sit at the desk all day now, work from home. And so that's all I use. I don't even ice it. I will take a couple of drops of the tincture or, a drag of a vape, and within minutes I see it. I also sometimes will even rub cream on it. And it's just really cool seeing how it flows and how it works in that space.
Right. And I think, I've got some friends in this space, and I think the best example that I've ever heard from CBD is when somebody asks, does it work or not? And the real test is just start using it and then wait a month and then stop using it. And that's when you'll really know, oh yeah, this is doing something for me, right? Because the changes are pretty subtle most of the time.
Yeah, it's not
most of these things.
It's not instant, right? Like it's not something that, okay, I'm gonna take a tincture one day and this should be a responsibly used, right? Like find your proper dosage, start low, but incorporate it into your daily life. And it doesn't have to be in the form of a smokable, right? It doesn't even have to be in the form of an edible. If, there's creams, there are hemp seed that you can, there's so many variants of it that there's a solution for everybody. I think, you have to give it its time to really flow, especially when you think of the analogy earlier of how we've been raised without it, and deprived of it. You have to work this back into your system because our bodies have not been fed this for literally generations now.
Right. And my understanding of the cannabinoid system in the human body is that we have these cannabinoid receptors. We actually crave cannabinoids. Our body desires this, right? It's almost as if it was intended to be that way.
Yeah, and you think of
we don't have salt receptors.
No,
right?
we don't.
Eat salt every day.
We don't have sugar receptor, but we have cannabinoid receptors. And you think of, if you look at ancient healing and holistic wellness, this was a part of their daily regimen. I mean, I even have folks that will argue, from a biblical standpoint, there's a version in Genesis that talks about the oil that was made, the healing oil. And one of the ingredients was cannabis. And regardless of how you look at it or what you believe in or where you stand, it just shows you that this has been a part of society for centuries.
Yes.
And only until the 1900s did we see mass prohibition of something in conjunction with the growth of the drug war, the growth of
Yes.
pharmaceutical drug. So it's like, were we hoodwinked? Like, was this wool put over our eyes? And you see
Yeah.
different sectors of society are just in
I,
shambles.
I don't want to unravel yesterday's tragedies by far, but we're at this point in our in the country to where CBD is now legal nationwide. I've actually talked to a couple FBI agents and said, it kind of makes marijuana legal too, because a cop can't discern the difference between hemp and marijuana on the street right now, right? Is there testers? Like, how would somebody know what the difference between marijuana plant and hemp plant would be today?
And it's
For each
crazy.
lab?
Well, it's crazy because they are, you see all this funding now going into testers, portable testers, and all of this stuff. And it's like, why not put that funding into R&D to make sure it's compliant? We're good to go. Like, why go backwards? Always look for lab reports, though. I mean, that's the biggest thing. If you can't see a lab report, you can't at least see a cannabinoid profile. I probably wouldn't deal with it. I want to, just like with medicine, like if I get Tylenol, I can look on the bottle, know
Right.
what's in it. Same thing. They should at least have a website, check out the website, check out the reviews, vet the website, and look at the lab reports. Make sure they're not edited. If it looks sketchy, it probably is sketchy.
Right.
Reach out to the vendor direct. The vendors, from a compliance standpoint, we have to have those things on hand to protect us. So it should never be an issue to get those documents and to be able to find those documents when you're buying.
Right. Wonderful. I love it. I could talk about this line. I could talk on this line for days, but going back a little bit, right?
Yeah.
What's the name of your company?
We are Vast Wellness Solutions. You can find us online at vastwellnesssolutions.com.
Vastwellnesssolutions.com. So you and how long ago did you, so that was about 3 years ago that you founded that company?
Started it in San Jose, California. It was rocky to say the least.
Yeah.
Timing was wild because initially I wanted to just get in the cannabis industry, and when you start to see the cost to even have a seat at the table, it was
Yeah.
just it was unbelievable. But
Even the permitting. The
oh
permits are really expensive and they're not guaranteed that you get it, right?
no, and so you're it's like going to the casino, and I think you have better odds at the casino because at
Right.
least they want you to win a little bit, right? So I pivoted to hemp cannabinoids. It was a bit challenging again, though. Pandemic was less than a year away. Having compliant banking, payment processing, getting the product wasn't necessarily hard. Finding good farms and good vendors to get the stuff was relatively easy. The
Okay.
area that was very challenging was, okay, now we want to actually execute a compliant sale. How do we do that without merchant processing, things of that nature?
Right. Okay. So you decide, and now 4 years ago, you're in corporate America IT sales,
Yeah.
right? Cush
Mhm.
job for the most
Yeah.
part, right?
Great
Especially
job.
when you're working at companies like Microsoft, and you decide to leave that comfort,
No,
or
I
was
still
this
work
a
at,
side hustle
this is
in the
just a
beginning?
side hustle. Just a
Okay.
side hustle. I mean, it's still a side hustle essentially, but it
Right.
is, something that working from home, working remote has given me an opportunity to really build out an amazing ecosystem of just of growing revenue streams, which I would suggest to anyone. Take advantage of the time that you've been afforded. In this remote world, find, if remote is for you and you have an entrepreneurial spirit, find a remote job because it really gives you the flexibility to be your own boss, to really do
Absolutely.
what you're passionate about.
I would be a horrible remote employee because I would just be doing side hustles all day. I wouldn't be working
Yeah.
for the company paying me.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that are doing that. What I think, the advice I'd give is kill it at your day job. If you're in
Yeah.
that situation, kill it. I mean, do everything that you can to make a name for yourself. I have put in 5 years as of a couple of days ago at Microsoft. I am someone that is highly respected, but that didn't come without earning it, right? That didn't come
Right.
without hard work. I try to add value every day. But when it's my free time, lunch hour, early mornings, after 5 p.m., I'm RLMB Consulting. I'm Vast Wellness Solutions. I am a licensed real estate agent. Weekends, and that has given me more than enough time to really scale this thing.
Right. I know, not to harp on Gary Vee too much, but he says a lot. What are you doing between 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. every day? If you have a
Absolutely.
full time job, you've got that time to
Hmm.
do other stuff, right? And so many people just end up on the couch watching Netflix with that time,
Yeah,
which is sad. Unless it's just truly what makes them happy, then go for it, right? But
absolutely.
um, it's not my jam for sure. But Reggie, thank you so much for your time today. Again, how does somebody get to the website?
So you can find us online, vastwellnesssolutions.com. We're listed on Google as well, under Vast Wellness Solutions. We've got a social presence on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and
Amazing.
Facebook. So yeah, I mean, all the branding is the same. We're easy to find.
Awesome. And if somebody's never taken your product or taken any CBD THC products ever, right? What's something that you think would be a good one to dip their toe into for the first time?
If you've never dealt with it, I would say try out our vape or try out our topical or tincture. It's easy to use, instructions are simple, and you won't be overwhelmed with trying to roll something up or find something
Right.
to just smoke some flour in, right? It's a little bit more, a little bit cleaner, I would say, and we have virtual bud tenders that are on accessible 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you have a question, reach out to a wellness coach via our chat feature on the website. They'll walk you through, what package, what's our best seller, let them know kind of what you're looking for, and we can point you in the direction of a solution that'll fit your needs.
Wonderful. And then I know in the THC side, there's all these different names and stuff like that. Is it the same in the CBD world, or is
Yeah,
it crazy like that there too, with all the fun,
there's
exciting names?
there's names, there's fun names. You even have people that are renaming stuff, and that gets a little gray. There are traditional names: Lifter, Sour Space Candy, Suver
Right.
Haze, Berry Blossom. These are traditional, Harley Quinn. Even these are traditional names of CBD branded strains that
Right.
that 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 have been in the industry for years. I'm kind of weary of the names that are clearly renamed. Like, just let me know you're rebranding it, but what are the genetics? Right? Just
Right.
just tell me you're calling it gelato, but it's really Suver Haze, and you're calling it gelato because you've added gelato terpenes, right? Like, just
Right.
tell me that, and that's
Okay.
totally fine. But
Yes.
yeah, so yeah, you'll see a lot of names though.
And if there's a guy or lady out there in the world today and they're working a job, if it's remote or in the office, and they're looking to start a side hustle and they don't know, they may have an idea or they don't have an idea yet, what is one piece of advice that you would give them that you wish you would have known when you were starting down this journey?
Do your research before you start. And I mean, I know that is like expected, but at times you're passionate about something and you get so excited and you throw all your eggs in that basket. And do your research though. Is there a demand for it? Do you have a social media following that you can promote it to, or do you have a marketing strategy? Because those are critical things. You can have the best product, but if you don't do your market research, if you don't know your target audience, it's going to be really difficult to get that thing off the ground. So I would say do your research, know your audience, and build up your social presence.
Absolutely. It's very, very important. And I agree with you. Entrepreneurs and business owners jump, and that's a peer for us, right? Just because
Yeah.
we're running very, very fast. I think not only is there a demand for it, but in the CBD world, how fast do you think that it's going to get saturated, right? What is the barrier to entry on the marketplace? When hemp
Yeah.
became legal, the barrier to entry became pretty low, right? You said it was pretty easy to find product and stuff like that. Merchant services were the long pole in the fence. I'm assuming cryptocurrency helped you out there quite a bit.
Yeah, cryptocurrency, but so, and this kind of goes back to blurring the lines. Keep it compliant. Don't try to make a quick buck, right? This is about
Right.
sustainability. So like Square has been an amazing partner of ours. Square has a CBD program. They have a application process that it is extensive, but if you're doing things the right way, making sure that you're licensed if your state has a licensing program,
Right.
check your COAs, get alternative third-party testing if needed, have a bank account, have a business address, have your ducks in a row, and then get compliant payment processing, get that out of the way before you invest in any inventory or anything.
Okay.
And then just stay in your lane. Don't try to trick the system. They will audit you. They will catch up. And
Yes.
I know you've heard the horror stories of tens of thousands of dollars on hold for 6 months because they shut you down. And then you run the risk of not being able to get payment processing with anybody in the future. So I would say do your due
Absolutely.
diligence and take your time.
It is a challenge, right? If you can't collect money, then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Cryptocurrency and stuff like BitPay are absolutely a good solution. I didn't know that Square had a CBD program.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super excited because that's a St. Louis-based company. Jim McKelvey founded it, and he lives right here in St. Louis. So, and I think their headquarters are in St. Louis too. So, super proud of them for coming up and having a solution for this industry for the payment processing.
They've been tremendous, such a tremendous partner to work with. And again, just stay compliant and they will, I mean, there's a fee, right? There's a fee, and it's a little bit higher than standard fees. But when you think of like some of the taxes that are, well, California just lifted their marijuana tax, which is great. That's going to be awesome for those on the cannabis side. But, it was something that the industry needed. We needed a player to step up and say, look, we're going to go all in here. There's also banks now that have hemp sectors. We have a First Citizens National here in Texas, and they have a hemp department. They offer hemp
Wonderful.
bank. And so they're not necessarily out there saying, hey, we have hemp, but do your research,
Right.
use that tool Bing, and look up, what you're looking for. Do your obviously vet them, but you can even reach out to me. I do business development consulting. So if you have questions, you can feel free to drop me a line on the website, and I'd love to walk, an up and coming hemp CBD brand through the process so that they can hopefully avoid some of the hurdles we did.
Awesome. Reggie, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it. I've had a blast talking to you. Super exciting industry, and I would definitely wish you the best of luck in it.
Hey, thanks, Ken, so much. Have a
Awesome.
great day.
You have a great day too.
That's it for today's show, folks. If you'd like to join my text line community, the number is 314-370-2871. All you have to do to join that text line is send me any question about business or technology. I'll do all the research, and I'll give you an absolutely free, totally unbiased answer. Get to work.